Greetings, kindred. Apologies for the lateness of this full moon podcast that I'm doing. I was actually going to write an article. I've been backwards and forwards. Should I do an article? Should I record? And I did start to write an article actually, but I thought, you know what, just let me record it. It's going to be a very long article. And I also just wanted to clarify a few things that I mentioned in the video I did with the Magi. The first thing I wanted to clarify was on the star sign of Gemini. Now, we was talking about that and about how it's a fourfold energy, and it's actually relative to two half brothers that were very different from each other. And Howard did mention twin sisters, and I do know that, the constellation of Gemini is often associated with the twins. I mean, even in tarot, the card of Gemini is relative to the twin energy. But, Gemini itself isn't the twins, but two of the brothers in that fourfold energy, which is Osiris and Set in Egyptian, were married to twin sisters. Now, as Isis and Nephis, they were twin sisters. So that is where the twin energy comes into the Gemini star sign. And obviously, the twin sisters do have quite an influence in the Gemini star sign. So I just wanted to clarify that that's where the twin energy comes in. And of course, Osiris and Isis they've always been described as like the twin flame energy, and they were actually soulmates. And when Set and Osiris actually, before they married the twin sisters, it was an arranged marriage from young with the both of them. And with the parents, they arranged these marriages from when they were young, so they did all grow up together. Osiris had a great influence over Isis, and Set had a great influence over Nephis. So really, Osiris and Set did mold the twin sisters in their growing up life. And and that's another story. So that is where the twins come into the Gemini star sign. I call it star sign, not constellation, because it is on the ecliptic, and the sun does travel through Gemini, which makes Gemini star sign. And I did do a video on what makes a constellation a star sign as well. So I just wanted to clarify that. And also, I was talking about how, when the earth was known as Tiamat, and when the god Anu used to come down, Anu was the original king of Maldek before. Now, this is Sumerian, and I do go backwards and forwards from Sumerian to Egyptian, so apologies for that. But I think Anu in Egyptian represents Geb, the sky god. So he used to come down to earth to mine for peat and opals. And I didn't clarify why opals was significant to the planet Uranus and Neptune, actually, because I've looked up, the constitutions of the chemicals on those planets, and they are more, their combination of chemicals do produce like more opal substance. So when Uranus used to burst their banks on the Earth, obviously it created opals, and the Earth back then, which was known as Tiamat, was full of opals. So I just wanted to clarify. So I do know that diamonds, originally come from Saturn. Opals come from Uranus and Neptune. And, there is also actually a scientific laboratory that focuses on Uranus called Opal. So it just goes to show that opals are very much connected to Uranus and Neptune. Now, I'm not sure about, I haven't looked at all the planets, but I'm just assuming that, Jupiter's more ruby. I haven't looked at the chemical substances on Jupiter, but, there is this like, um, there's a lot of scientists out there, or there's been a lot of information put out there about, the asteroids are full of platinum, gold, and silver, like precious metals. So, we'll keep an open mind to that. But yeah, I feel opals definitely come from Uranus and Neptune, and Earth was abundant with them. Anyways, I just wanted to clarify those 2 points. And also, the exercise I do, I call it pilots. That's just me with my lazy language. It's actually Pilates, but yeah, I just call them pilots. So that was just another thing I wanted to mention. So we're getting into this full moon chart now. And I will actually put a link to that video that I did with the Magi. It's all about when Pluto enters into Capricorn in March 2023. And I love working with Magi. I think because we're just so familiar with each other, we've known each other for years, we just kind of flow together. And yeah, so I really do enjoy doing videos with him. Well, we could talk for hours, but obviously I had to cut it short because it was getting over 2 hours, and I know you all don't have a lot of time on your hands. So yeah, I'm sure we'll catch up soon and do a round two to that video, because there was a little bit more we would have liked to have covered in that video. So I'm actually recording this on the day of the supermoon. Now it's I don't know what the time is right now. I think it's coming up for about 12:30 in the afternoon here in the GMT time zone in London, and the full moon actually reaches its peak this evening at 19:37. So that's 19:37 in the GMT time zone. And the full moon will reach its peak at 14:37 in the EDT time zone, and it will be July 14th that the full moon reaches its peak at 4:37 in the AEDT time zone. Now, I just wanted to say, this full moon is a super moon as well. It's a very, very triggering energy for many, and I think more to do with like public relations and what's going on with our governments and stuff like that. So we've still got this T square going on with the nodes and Uranus against Saturn, who's in retrograde, and Saturn's really scrambling around now, trying to find resources and trying to bring stuff through that can fit into what they feel will be better for us all, society wise and globally. They're trying to bring in the shifts and changes, but they're trying to do it in a way where, yeah, it kind of serves a purpose. Now, whether that purpose is for the good or for the good of the people, or for, you know, more for their own kind of, you know, it's really hard to find words for this because I'm trying to stay balanced and open minded. But I just feel it's very, very triggering. We know there's stuff going on here in the UK with shifts and changes in our government. So, there's going to be a new prime minister soon, or an interim one. And yeah, so there's a lot of debates going on. There's a lot of pressure on that situation. And even in other countries, there's a lot of pressure on the governments of our world right now, where these shifts and changes are trying to be brought into society. But for some reason, it's creating a lot of tension. and a lot of kind of like, conflicting opinions. So our full moon will be in Sagittarius, which can be, quite optimistic and idealistic. And if our moon was in good aspect, I would say, this is kind of an uplifting time where we can feel, a little bit lighter, a little bit more joyous, a little bit more exploratory. Um, but, with the moon coming into conjunction with Pluto, like a few hours later, I mean, she's already in conjunction, but she's going to be coming into a much tighter conjunction as the hours go on from the full moon. And, also in opposition to that, our sun, which is also always, I should say, in opposition to our moon, our full moon, our sun is in Gemini in conjunction with Mercury and the goddess Ceres, but also in conjunction with the black moon Lilith. So, this little stellium here is creating an opposition with Pluto and our moon. Now, this is a very triggering energy, very triggering. I mean, Pluto is kind of like the darker aspects, bringing out the darker aspects of our moon's energy. And the black moon Lilith is bringing out the darker aspects of our sun, Mercury, and the goddess Ceres' energy. And then they're all creating this T-square towards Chiron. So I just feel that many people right now are just feeling like they're in this really dark period. And not for all of us, but I do feel those that have this, that have this responsibility around, like our health, our resources, maybe it's connected to the media because Gemini really does rule the media. And with Mercury, there just kind of makes me feel there's, a lot of shadow energy around the media. Now, it could also be things being exposed through our media that's causing a lot of pain or a lot of emotional stuff to come to the surface. I'm fully aware that, people are struggling, those with mortgages that are not in high paid jobs. And even those that are in high paid jobs are worried about, how if their job's gonna like survive this economic crisis that we've been entering into for over a year now. Well, it's been going on really since 2008, and we keep having these highs and lows with it. But it's kind of looking pretty dark out there, economically, but also emotionally when it comes to our faith, when it comes to our well-being, our resources and stuff like that. So things are not looking good at the moment. And, with all these shifts and changes going on, people don't always adapt to change easily while others kind of thrive in change. Do you know what I mean? And, yeah, I mean, I don't watch the news that much. I catch up on it every here and there just to see what's being put out there, to be honest. And, so I may just have a look. I mean, over here in the UK, it really is all around what's going on in our governments at the moment with a new prime minister and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a very triggering energy, especially also when it comes to relationships. I mean, relationships are under a lot of stress right now. So, this is where, if we've got differences of opinion or we've got different personalities, this is now where it becomes a problem. And, there can be a little bit of a breakdown, arguments in relationships. But I can also get from this T square, Wow, there's a lot of talking going on, but it's very emotionally dominating as well. And in Sagittarius, it can be about our beliefs, or our strong opinions. And, when the moon is in opposition to the black moon Lilith, it can create like emotional eruptions, and we all know Sagittarians can erupt very quickly, they have very quick tempers or are known for that. And, but it can also be emotional depletion, where we just feel depleted mentally and emotionally. Especially with Black Moon Lilith in conjunction to Mercury. Sometimes we can say things we can be abrupt with things we say, especially with Mercury and our Sun in Gemini, because Gemini can just be very quick and impulsive, like the Sagittarian energy can be very quick and impulsive. And with this T-square against Chiron, who's still transiting Pisces. I mean, Chiron takes a long time to transit through a star sign anyway. Even though he's a comet, he's more out there with the outer planets, so his transit is much slower. So I think sometimes, we build up these ideals in our mind, or, we feel like we have the answers or the solutions, only to feel a kind of let down, because every time we prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally, things kind of change again. And, I do feel it's about health as well. I'm aware there's stuff being put out there around health, and it's looking pretty dark and pretty dire. But, with the North Node and Uranus at the top of this kite we've got going on, so the grand trine of the kite is with the South Node. Our Sun, Mercury, the goddess Ceres, and the Black Moon Lilith in trine to Neptune, and the goddess Juno in Aquarius. Well, Juno's in Aquarius, Neptune is retrograding in his own sign of Pisces. I mean, we can kind of like find comfort in things that are familiar, you know. We can direct all that triggering darker energy into art form, or feeling more self-empowered, more independent, more prepared to be the nomad in this world where, we're not worried about the material side of life, where we've got to have that inner faith in ourselves. And it's not fair if we are struggling. It's not fair if we feel we're about to lose our homes or our jobs, our sense of security, because there's many people out there that are kind of under that pressure right now. And, we do have to be aware that that is actually occurring. But I really do feel that, there's also this energy where emotions are being stirred up, where, people will want to speak up and speak out. And I think we should be more in an observing energy at the moment, because things are coming to light, and, things are being revealed, and it's not pleasant. And, maybe for some it's hard to accept, or it's an emotional situation, you know, or it's just like too overwhelming mentally. So I do feel there's going to be a conflict of interest in the media. I do feel that there's going to be like conflicts within intimate relationships or family relationships. But this Kite aspect, I mean, the North Node and Uranus are really trying to bring in change for the people, because Aries is about protecting, you know, the vulnerable. So it's really letting go, or, you know, especially with the South Node in Libra. I mean, this is about finding balance and justice so we can move forward and, you know, protect our own, like our, you know, either our own families or the people around us, or, you know, maybe be more community oriented, because I feel communities, the coming together of communities will be very important regardless of, you know, any differences of opinion. You know, we've got to be in a place of acceptance that everybody's entitled to their own personal choice. And there's, you know, a lot of opportunities. So even though this is a very triggering energy, it's also a very enlightening energy, you know. And one thing I find, or I've found throughout my years, is the hardest thing to do is acceptance, is being in that place of acceptance. You know, we have to beware of becoming narrow-minded with this, do you know what I mean? Or sticking to strong opinions and trying to force them onto other people. And I don't feel this is so much. I feel this is more about media for some reason as well. But obviously, you know, the public people, they choose a side. They choose a narrative that they feel they need to follow or more comfortable in following. I would say just be in a place of observance, you know, keep an open mind. But I just feel that there are some things coming out. Sorry about the background noise if you can hear it. I've got to have the windows open. It's so hot here today. And I did actually want to do this video yesterday, but it was just so hot and humid, I just couldn't do it. It was just so noisy out there. But anyway, so that's what I'm seeing going on with this full moon. And, you know, I don't know if we're going to get breaks in between these, you know, full moon and new moon energies leading up to Pluto entering into Capricorn. I did want to look at some more charts. I haven't had time. We've had a family crisis going on here as well, which has been quite distracting. But looking at this chart wheel, I would just say, get into your creative energy. You know, find something that where you can express yourself and uplift your spirit. Because there's one part of us that wants to, you know, run free and enjoy the atmosphere right now. You know, but there's a lot of like dampening of spirit going on out there. And I just feel that we need to release any negative energy through art, through music, you know, through anything really that uplifts your spirit and not follow, you know, the status quo. So, you know, we do have Mars in Aries here, which really can be very energetic and, you know, so, and Uranus conjunct the North Node. I mean, things are happening very rapidly. I mean, Mars will come into conjunction with Uranus and the North Node, maybe by the time of the new moon. And I just feel we need to watch that energy because that's very fast paced. That's going to be very, very fast paced. So I just feel, yeah, there's a lot happening from here onwards. I mean, the lead up to the Pluto entering into Capricorn. It's going to be very, very intense. So I would just say, find some sort of meditation or something that can calm the energies, like herbal remedies. Definitely vitamins, because this can really drain your energies, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So yeah, I do see this conflict going on for quite some time, within our authorities, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the people, and there's a lot of pressure on them. So I think we just need to watch that space and stand up for our rights, definitely. If we feel something's unfair, then we need to approach the right people about that. Anyway, Kindred, I'm going to leave it there, and just keep yourselves calm. So, as always, I'm sending you all peace and much love. Take care.